Yeah, we're talking about Thanksgiving, but you can have that attitude on a daily basis. A guy can come back from work and say, I worked really hard. I'm just going to kick off now, have a couple of beers and ignore the kids scenario. Meanwhile, your partner may be sitting at home all day with the kids and she wants a break as well. So we get to look at that on a daily basis as well. How are you showing up?
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of The Powerful Man Show. Today we're going to have a topic that I think we hear a lot, and the idea here is, do you feel like a stranger in your own home? So Arthur, why don't you kick us off with this one?
Okay. We often speak to the guys and hear from the guys, and I've been there myself, where you believe you're showing up in the house, but your wife, your partner is disconnected. She's doing different things. She's not connecting with you. Your kids are in their rooms and there's no one around. You don't feel connected to anyone. You're showing up, you think, as best as you can. You're doing the work, you think you as best as you can, and you're not getting that reciprocity back, that appreciation. And so you feel like, what the hell am I doing here?
Yeah. And I think oftentimes when that happens, guys feel like a stranger and then they retreat. They kind of feel like, hey, I feel like just a paycheck is something that a lot of guys feel like, why am I even here? Or they'll be better off without me is another thing that comes up for a lot of guys. And guys tend to turn to sedation, right? Mm-hmm. They'll turn on the TV, pour an extra cocktail or two, maybe 6, and they'll just check out because it's not worth the pain, the rejection of feeling like the one place that's supposed to be home base, the safe place, your home where your family is, and you want to be treated like a king, yet you feel like an intruder.
Well said.
Thank you.
It's rare, so I thought I'd compliment. This is going out around Thanksgiving. We recorded one a few episodes ago on Divorce Day, right? Maybe the guys are listening to this and not really understanding the gravity of the next 4 to 6 weeks. Because these next 4 to 6 weeks, we've heard many, many times, right, about how this has been the period that has really been the final nail in the coffin for many marriages. And the guys don't realize it because they think they're going into this holiday season with things being okay because the arguments have stopped. Yet we spoke again on that podcast about being checked out and the guys missing warning signs. As a result, over Thanksgiving and the holiday season, the guys tend to use it as an excuse to drink more, right? Because they feel like a stranger. They don't know how to handle that, right? So therefore, it's an excuse and it's easier to check out and sedate. They'll typically go on the phone a lot more. They won't get involved in the decision-making of what to do over the holiday season and be it what people to have around or what activities to do or whatever it may be. And I get that it's because they've given away the leadership way before that. And as a result, they feel like a stranger. They feel left out, right? They see this conversation happening over the dinner table over Thanksgiving, and it's like it's happening on a movie scene for them, right? And it's something that they're watching unfold, and they just feel completely excluded. You've spoken before about when Erin's been on the phone with the family, right? And you've just injected yourself into the conversation so you can be part of it, right? I think that's a really good thing to pick up on here because I just imagine a scene where some guys are sat around the dinner table watching it play out, and it'd be great to give them some tips on what to do in that scenario. So these next 6 weeks, they can really go from a stranger to being plugged in.
Yeah, I definitely do. And I'll just add on, when guys go into this phase, and I've been into this phase too, Arthur, really what we're doing is being victims. We're playing the victim card, right? Like, woe is me, I'm a stranger. They don't appreciate me enough. I'm just a paycheck. Wah, 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 right? And look, guys, I get it because I've been there. I'm just calling you forward that this is the reality. Arthur's been there. Tim, I'm sure you've been there. We're playing the victim card, guys, rather than being a leader. And so to your point, what could you do? Well, I think the first thing here to do is get ahead of the curve, right? And what I mean by that is have a conversation with your wife. And if you're not in a position where your marriage is good, then this isn't the time to have that conversation per se. But if you're in a place where it's okay, at least, you want to have a conversation about expectations around the holidays and what it is you want. And so that conversation looks something like this, like, hey, babe, Thanksgiving's coming up. I know you're really excited. I am too. What does Thanksgiving look like to you? and have her paint a vision of what Thanksgiving looks like, the preparation and everything, and go, okay, interesting. And here's what I would like. Now, this is where you lead. First, you're going to validate her, right? So you're going to go, okay, that makes sense. So what I'm hearing you say is there's going to be a ton of cooking and you really need some help in the kitchen. Okay. Now, if you agree with it, then go for it. If not, go, look, this is what I'd really like to do for Thanksgiving. Part of what I want to do is watch the game. It's a big day on Thanksgiving for the American tradition. We watch a football game. So how can I help you prep for the kitchen so that when I go sit down and watch the game, you have what you need and I have what I need?
Love it.
And now you're coming to a consensus and an understanding. Because what tends to happen, right? You have that same scenario where no conversation comes. The wife's there. She's stressed out about getting things done. She sees her lazy ass husband sit on the couch, not do anything. Meanwhile, he's thinking, this is my time, my holiday to do this. Why is she barking at me, bitching at me? And that creates more conflict, which stacks, which then leads to divorce day, right? Because then she's got another tally of this lazy guy that doesn't appreciate her, et cetera, and another holiday ruined. So it starts right there with that preparation. Get ahead of it. You know Thanksgiving's coming. You know when it's coming, right? Just like Christmas. Guys that make excuses, and I've been one of these guys too. Oh, I waited too late to buy Christmas presents. Well, it's like, come on, moron. It's the same friggin' day every year. It's not a surprise.
What I love about that conversation as well is because the other scenario there is the guy that just kicks back and then both man and wife tell stories, right? Which doesn't end well. Or the guy might see it as an opportunity to swoop in and save the day and get too involved. Yet there's been no communication. So she resists it because she's got a plan in her head of what's going to happen. And because he's abdicated his leadership for weeks and months, maybe even years prior to that, the last thing she wants to do is for him to get involved because it's easier if she just does her own thing. So if the guy tries to swoop in, she resists it, obviously. He then feels rejected or whatever, stories get made up. So again, that conversation there, I think is a great one because it really addresses both sides of that coin.
Yeah. And I think the key thing here is you make the day the target, and you've said this before, you make the relationship the target. It's not what I want or what you want, is how can we have a great day? It's the win-win. That's the target. And when you do it that way, when you come from that point, whether in your relationship, you're arguing for the relationship or you're debating for the day to have an amazing day, that takes a sting away from, oh, you're doing this for you and individual wins. So win-win. But the other thing I want to say is, we're talking about Thanksgiving, but you can have that attitude on a daily basis. The guy can come back from work and say, I worked really hard. I'm just going to kick off now, have a couple of beers, and then, and ignore the kids scenario. Meanwhile, your partner may be sitting at home all day with the kids and she wants a break as well. So we get to look at that on a daily basis as well. How are you showing up?
Yeah, and that's perfect. This is this morning. So this morning, as you guys know, we're all staying at the ranch here. My family lives 8 minutes door to door away, 5 minutes if you count the gate. It just takes how long to get up here. Just around the corner. And so I went and watched my son's soccer game, and I went by, picked up my family, went to the soccer game, and it was great. And so I was talking to my wife. I said, hey, because you guys are flying out tomorrow, I said, what does Sunday look like for you? We're recording this on Saturday, clearly. Paint me a vision of what that looks like for you. And she's like, well, I want Sunday to be a fun family day. I said, awesome. So do I. So what does a fun family day look like to you? And so she said, I don't know. Maybe, we can do this, we can do that. And I said, that sounds amazing. I go, let's make sure those things happen. I also, get to unpack from our trip, and there's a few things that I want to get done in the morning. So I'll plan on getting those done in the morning so that then we can have this time and create to do so. And so now we're on the same page, and I'm leading with the examples, right? I didn't say, hey, can I have some time to do these things? Or worse, wake up in the morning on Sunday, she sees me starting to do work stuff. In her mind, she's thinking, oh, wow, he's just going to work. He's going to ignore the family. But now I've set expectations that fit into her vision and my vision together, because I want to have a family day, right? That sounds fun to me. And so we're now both having the same vision. I've just led that vision to correlate. You can do this on Thanksgiving or any other holiday. It's just the stakes are higher.
Yeah.
Right? Expectations are higher, pressures are higher. You're going to have probably, for a lot of people, family or friends are coming from out of town or whatever. They're coming into your wife's space, or you're going into theirs. And so you want to really paint that picture effectively. And a way to do that is first gather the other person's vision. This is just like negotiations. Get the other person's vision If it aligns with yours, then add on to it and then lead that vision in a place that your family can really thrive.
Yeah, I love that. I think another couple of important points here to touch on. So again, going back to the topic, feeling like a stranger in their own home.
Yep.
Depending on how long, again, the guys have abdicated leadership leading up to this particular season right now, they're going to face some shit tests. All right? Because let's say a guy's feeling like a stranger, he's listening to this, he's willing to take a risk and either lead the conversation or find ways to connect or find ways to take things off his wife's plate. He's going to face some resistance. He's going to face some kind of shit test. So I think it'd be good to just touch on that, and so the guy can set appropriate expectations for himself and talk about how he can handle that and how he can also then move ahead of that as the holiday season progresses.
Sure. What kind of shit test do you give us an example?
I mean, you did the masterclass on the shit test, which was great, honestly. So I think you'd be better to give the different examples.
Yeah, so let's first define what a shit test is, because I think, first of all, I don't like the word shit test. Some people call it a fitness test, which I hate. I think it's even dumber. But we'll stick with shit test for this example. So a shit test is really a manufacturer complaint. And what I mean by that is your woman is going to come complain or pick on you, but it's not really a complaint. It's not really something she's going to say. So let's think of an example. Okay, the guy comes in, he sits on the couch to turn on the game, right? And the wife comes in and goes, you're always watching football. Today is the day of the Macy's Day Parade, which is a true thing, coming in. Now, some guys go, I'm sorry, dear. Let me change the channel to the Macy's Parade so that you can watch that instead of watching what I want to watch. So that's one way you can handle it, and you're totally giving in to what she's doing. Here's another example, right? Same thing happens. The guy sits down on the couch. She turns on the game. Wife walks in the room. You're always watching football. Today's the day of the Macy's Parade. And he could turn to her and do a couple things, right? One is he could joke with her, amplify the situation, and sit there and go, babe, why don't you sit on my lap? We can watch the football game together, right? Or something along those lines. Something that's going to be playful and fun in that context, right? And what the reason that this becomes interesting in a way to navigate things is you want to turn this away from an argument, right?
Big time.
And you also don't want to just crush and give in to what you want to give what she wants. Now, I'm not saying you don't do that sometimes and give your wife, it's partnership, right? Sometimes you want to do that. But men have to be careful of not just being a nice guy to be a nice guy. Right?
And not just withdrawing and stonewalling.
Yep.
Right? That's what a lot of guys do in this scenario when they feel like a stranger. Fine. Shuts it off. Walk off.
Storms off.
Storms off. Furious.
Like a little kid.
Goes another beer and
then it's mad. And it has resentment throughout the day.
Big time.
Palpable.
Big time.
Right? And then she's going to come up with another test and another test. And there's other ways that you can do these things, right? So here's another example. You walk into the kitchen and the wife says something like, prepping a dinner for everybody is just so difficult. You never help me, right? You can come back behind her and go, baby, I'll chop onions with you all day. Like, you can make it fun. And so that's kind of fun. And she's going to kind of giggle, or she's going to act like more pouty mad. And then you can help out. Like, you should help out for Thanksgiving. But make it a joke. Make it light. Make it fun. And so when this happens with me at my house in these situations, I'll then turn on music. My wife might be in this crabby mood. We're all in shitty moods from time to time. I'll turn on some music and I'll start dancing around. And she might be like, you're just ridiculous. And I'm like, yeah, I am. And I'll just keep dancing. And I guarantee after at least one song or so, my wife starts dancing. The next thing you know, both of us are dancing in the kitchen, chopping vegetables. And this is called foreplay, right? This turns an argument into something that's fun. It's light. So my wife now has either a grumpy husband who doesn't do anything, or she's got a crazy husband who dances with her in the kitchen. Which one is going to get laid?
I think that's the key, though. Make it fun and light.
Yep.
It's got to be fun and light. This holiday season has to be fun and light. Because I think it's the continuation of the heaviness and the stonewalling and everything else that's probably been going on most of the year, if not longer. You got to make this fun and light. Even if you're going into this worried with thoughts of it playing out a certain way, if you're listening to this podcast, you can no longer use that as an excuse, because you guys are sharing some really awesome wisdom and insights of what guys can do right now. And they're going to have to get uncomfortable.
Yep.
You're going to have to get out of their victimhood and comfort zones in order to keep it light and make it light, even in the face of the storm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think something that's really important here is if you're feeling like a stranger in your own home, there's resentment. And if there's resentment, then you are being passive aggressive, right? You need to do a clean slate letter. You have to do it. Now, you may not have time depending on when this comes out, or you may not know how to do a clean slate letter, and that's fair. In the case, keep it fun and light, easiest way to do it. But in an ideal world, if you're feeling like a stranger in your own home, you need to flip the script, right? You need to change that friggin' story. And part of that, the first part of changing that story is taking ownership of your side. What did you do? Because this happened gradually, guys. This didn't all of a sudden, one day you feel like a stranger in your own home. It may have felt like that, but you have slowly withdrawn. This thing is created between you. And again, my guess is if you feel like a stranger in your own home, you're probably in a sexless marriage, or at least that temporarily, or one that doesn't have much passion, because if you have passion in your marriage, you're not going to feel like a stranger. You're going to be coming in the house, dancing, going, yeah, this is going to be fun. Let's get the people in here and then get the people out of here. Yeah. And so I think the key here is you want to get to a place where you can get a clean slate letter. Have a coach review your clean slate letter, because 9 times out of 10, the coaches have to help the guys rewrite them 2, 3, 4 times before they're deliverable. But we want to make sure you guys understand the concept. Clean the slate, take some ownership of your side of the street.
Yeah. We also can't forget the children. All right.
Yeah.
Because if you're feeling a stranger and you got children, you need to connect with them as well.
Yep.
And so being the CFO is one of the things we discussed. Getting them away from your wife. She's cooking and sorting all things. She doesn't need the kids around her being hungry and being hangry and being all of that.
Yeah.
What are you doing to help that situation? Maybe you're going to take the kids out and take them to eat. Maybe you're going to take them out for the morning, just so that she has the space she needs to do what she needs to do, as well as connecting with the kids. Because if you're feeling like a stranger, it means you've got a disconnection with the kids. So what can you do to connect with those kids up to Thanksgiving and beyond?
That's a great point. And you can also do this, the whole vision setting I did with the wife. You can do it with the kids too. Like, what do you want to do with Thanksgiving? And if you have young kids, it may be just apple pie, right? And that's fine. You can also play games with them, but paint the vision for them. Hey, Thanksgiving's a really fun time. If you have young kids, Thanksgiving's a really fun time. Look, mommy and dad are going to be doing a lot of things to cook, to clean. What are some of the things that you can do this Thursday coming up to have fun while we're doing stuff? So get their minds going, right? Oh, we could play our games. And so that way, when Thursday comes, Thanksgiving's always on a Thursday. When Thursday comes around, the kids will have activities already in their heads of things they'll do. They've already been pre-framed that mom and dad will be busier than normal. So expectations have been set for them, right? And to your point, if you are feeling like a stranger, this is a great opportunity to reconnect, right? Drop your own baggage, your own BS stories about rejection and everything else, and insert yourself in there. Insert yourself in there if you want that connection. If you don't want that connection, you need to move, But if you do want that connection, you need to take some active steps. And if you want growth happens outside our comfort zones, right?
Exactly.
Beautiful. So let's wrap this one up then. So 3 things the guy listening to this could do right now to shift from being a stranger in his own home to being the king of his home this holiday season.
Yeah. Well, I want to steal your one that you said earlier on, which is you can't be the victim. Change your story, drop the victimhood, take leadership role, be proactive, and go out there and have those communications and those discussions that you need to have.
That was 4 wrapped in 1. That's not fair.
No, all right. All right, then we're done.
I was like, oh, that was one. Oh, that was one. That was what I was going to say. No, that's great. I mean, you stop being the victim and take a leadership role. Like, let's flip the script there.
Yeah.
I'm going to double down on kind of part of that is, and I think so, and Tim, I'll let you wrap this up, is communicate expectations, right? Understand what your partner and your children, your family, let's just call it your family, what their expectation, and I call it the vision. What does it look like for you? What does it feel like? Use whatever words you want for this day and leading up to this day. So you understand what their expectations are. Then use your filter to say, hey, does that make sense to me? And am I okay with that? If you are okay with that, great, confirm it. And then add on anything that you want to. Get verification that they're okay with it, and then lead the vision, right? So again, that could look like, oh, absolutely. Grocery shopping on Wednesday, getting the vegetables all chopped so we can have a more relaxing Thursday sounds great to me. And then also, something that's really important for me is watching the game and there. So what can I do to prep to make your life easier so that I can sit there and watch the game. Now you guys are in collaboration around a singular vision that everybody can drive forward. Everybody knows dad's going to watch the game. Cool. And maybe they might say, yeah, it sounds great. Let's get some hors d'oeuvres ready so we can have the hors d'oeuvres in front of the TV or whatever it may be.
I love those two. I think keep it light. Like, really keep it top of mind. How can you keep this light? Maybe it's music, right? Maybe it's putting a certain show on in the background in the morning. Maybe it's making sure you don't drink too much. Maybe it's just whatever it may be. It might even be making sure you get out for a morning walk, right? Just doing something to get some space and fill your cup so you can kind of reset yourself a little bit each morning. But just however you do it, really focus on keeping it light.
That's a great one too. I like that a lot. Hard for some guys to do, especially when they're feeling like the stranger in their own home.
Big time.
But gentlemen, you can do it. So guys, there's some avenues for you to keep it light, have some communication, flip the script from being vulnerable, as well as set a vision. And I'd like to know what you guys think. What are some of the things that you do to make Thanksgiving amazing? And what are some of the, love to hear some of your stories about Thanksgivings that maybe not gone so well. So make sure you put those in the comments. And as always, just know that in a moment of insight, take massive action. This is your shot, guys. Don't go from podcast to podcast or show to show. Take some massive action today so you can live a life that you've always wanted. In the meanwhile, make it a great week, and we'll see you next time on The Powerful Man Show.